Hi, everyone. This year already, we are getting some curveballs that I never expected. And one of them is this Vanity Fair article that came out just a couple of days ago. There is so much to uncover in this article, and I want to focus on one portion of it in this video. It has to do with Meghan and Harry and podcasting. So, if this sounds interesting to you, please sit back and relax and let's get ready to talk about it. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Up until this point, anytime I've seen an article in Vanity Fair about Harry and Meghan, it's painted them in a very positive light. And I also recall an instance in Tom Bower's Revenge where he talks about what led to the publishing of that article, Wild About Harry. I'm going to do a different video on that because I feel like that is another example of Meghan love bombing someone that she didn't know. It's just a very strange interaction, the way it's described in Tom Bower's Revenge. So watch out for that. That's going to come out pretty soon. But in this video, I want to talk about a portion of this article is at the very beginning. It is such a long-winded article. I wonder sometimes if this is done on purpose because it's hard to stay engaged and actively thinking when an article is just so long. Just for fun, I wanted to see how many words the article is, and let me check how much that is. I'll tell you right now. Okay, it's 8,050 words. That's a lot of words. It kind of reminds me of when I was in college and taking classes. Sometimes I felt that the books and the course and whatever would overcomplicate things. And I don't know why that was done. Let me know in the comments if you ever felt that way in college too, and if you get the feel from this article as well. Okay, so let's get into beginning portion of the article about Archewell and podcasting. In the beginning of the article, there's this paragraph. It starts with, they have this naivete and their hopefulness about what's possible in terms of storytelling and good works and all those things, says producer Jane Marie, who collaborated with the couple while they developed audio projects at Archewell and later produced a podcast with Michelle Obama. I wish I had that kind of optimism. When I read between the lines of this, I don't see optimism. I see an exaggerated ego, a belief in yourself that, I don't know, could make you a little bit delusional. It's almost as if they believe they can achieve the impossible and they have an inflated sense of self importance. And this is a characteristic that's common with narcissists, this grandiosity and delusions of superiority. I want to mention that I believe that Meghan Markle is a malignant narcissist, and I say that because she's very similar to my stepmom, who is a malignant narcissist, and that is where my perspective and my opinions are really stemming from. Narcissists see themselves as exceptional, special, uniquely talented. They genuinely believe they can succeed in industries when they have no experience. This immediately points me to when the Queen approached Meghan and said that Sophie would be a great role model to her. And Meghan said, "No, I'm good. I have Harry." And this was allegedly, and I believe it's in Tom Bower's Revenge when this interaction was stated. So it's this belief that, they, and maybe more so Meghan, I mean, I'm not sure about what's going on behind closed doors, but there's this grandiose sense of self. There's also a little bit of this magical thinking and overconfidence. Narcissists engage in this magical thinking, assuming that because they want something badly enough, it will simply happen. They often overestimate their abilities and believe they can master skills instantly without the efforts that others have put in. And how many times have we seen this with Meghan? One example I can think of off the top of my head is this American Riviera Orchard. She launched the Instagram account about a year ago, and she still is having issues with the name. And the name is one of the first things you think about, right? Along with this magical thinking and overconfidence, if they've succeeded in one area, they assume they can automatically dominate any field. I believe that Meghan thinks she's been very successful in all of the things that she's done. So why shouldn't she be successful in creating a podcast? All she has to do is get behind a mic and start talking to people, right? It seems also there's this lack of self awareness and reality distortion that's happening. Many narcissists lack true self awareness. They don't accurately assess their strengths and weaknesses. They rewrite reality in their heads, convincing themselves their failures were just obstacles on the way to eventual success. If they face criticism or failure, they downplay it, they deflect it, or they reframe the situation to preserve their ego. Okay, so let's continue with the article. So this paragraph is a little bit further into the article. And here we go. Here it starts. The development process was challenging. The former Spotify employee says they had this idea to do a podcast because they knew celebrities did them. A category differentiated between celebrities who get a lot of money to begin podcasting, like Harry and Meghan, and celebrities who get large deals after proving themselves to be capable podcasters, like Smartless's Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, and Jason Bateman. The former Spotify employee says, Harry and Meghan didn't do what celebrities do on podcasts, which is turn on the mic and talk. They wanted a big theme that would explain the world, but they had no ideas. Someone who worked closely with them on audio projects disputes this version, lamenting that because of Meghan and Harry's insistence on silence from employees and their own reticence, the public doesn't know about good projects that had to be abandoned for practical reasons. It feels like the only story is they didn't satisfy their contract, she says. It's not like work wasn't being done. And that's where the quote ends. This thing about wanting a big theme that would explain the world, but they had no ideas, it immediately reminded me of the part in Tom Bauer's book where Megan, here, you know what? The best thing for me to do is just read it to you. This is in Tom Bauer's book, Revenge, Chapter 11. The title of the chapter is Reitman's Take Two. This is the second advertising campaign that Megan did with Reitman's. She was paid for 8 days' work, $202,628 plus 7% royalties. The passage begins. Discussions about the commercial's concept or storyline had started in February. The 35-second commercial for the summer campaign was called The Label. Megan, the creative directors employed by the Tank Agency, and John Grammatico, the film director, disagreed about the concept that ended with Megan delivering the tagline, Reitman's, really. Over several weeks, Megan had denounced Tank's storyboard. A handsome man asks Megan to dance at a party in order to be able to read the label on her dress. Could such a beautiful woman really be wearing a Reitman's dress? Seriously, this doesn't make sense, Megan exclaimed about the storyboard. I'm a brash American, and if my name is going to be on something, I'm going to have my say. Tank's account manager, Emmanuel Theon, and creative director, Sophie Gaudet, were reluctant to make changes. In their opinion, Megan offered no worthwhile alternative ideas, other than suggesting that a Caribbean location with a Hollywood budget would be better. So let's end it there. One of the most important pieces of advice that I give to people that I work with that are looking to further their career is that when you are criticizing something or bringing something to upper management or your supervisor, what sets people apart is having a solution for whatever it is that you're rolling upwards. There's a difference between complaining about something and discovering that there's a gap and finding a solution. It seems like what Megan did during Reitman's campaign and what's being said here for the podcast ideas is very similar. So let's break this down a little bit further. Reading this passage makes me believe that Harry and Meghan wanted to start a podcast simply because other celebrities were doing it. But here's the thing, those celebrities that were listed in this article have proven themselves that they were great at podcasting before they landed these huge deals. Meghan and Harry, though, they got a massive contract up front without ever showing they had the skill to sustain a show. This already suggests a narcissistic mindset, believing that their name alone was enough to guarantee success without doing the groundwork that other podcasters do. And of course, Spotify is responsible in this also because they're the ones that signed the contract with them. Most celebrity podcasts have a simple formula. They turn on the mic, they talk, and let the audience connect with their personality. But Harry and Meghan wanted something bigger, a podcast that would explain the world and make a profound impact. But they had no concrete ideas on how to do that. According to sources, they struggled to settle on a format, they overcomplicated every decision, and they demanded perfection. which completely stalled progress. And again, they believed that putting their name on it would make it groundbreaking, but they refused to trust experts or accept feedback. And we've heard behind the scenes and rumblings that they have a really difficult time listening to feedback. I mean, this is exactly why there is such a push with them to silence critics and to attack the First Amendment. So let's break down some of the key narcissistic tendencies that I believe led to their failure. Grandiosity. They didn't want a simple podcast. They wanted to change the world, but they had no real direction. They have entitlement. They expected success because of who they were, but not because of what they offer. Unfortunately for them, who they are in relation to the royal family was the only thing that set them apart from other people. They really don't seem to have anything special to offer that would garner public interest in them. There are also control issues. Employees were forced into silence, and production couldn't move forward because they refused to compromise. And of course, there's blame shifting. Instead of taking responsibility for the project's failure, insiders now say the public just doesn't understand what happened. And there's blame shifting. We know that Meghan and Harry don't take responsibility for the project's failure. We see this exact behavior with the With Love Meghan trailer. I haven't checked the recent numbers, but when I did check last time, the comments under Netflix's YouTube account for the trailer have been mostly negative. And allegedly, Meghan has demanded that Netflix fire the entire marketing team because, in her opinion, that's the reason for the failure. However, knowing Meghan, I'm sure she had a heavy hand in how the trailer was laid out. Had the trailer been a great success, Meghan would say that it's all because of her that it's been so successful. But when it's not successful, she's looking for a scapegoat to blame the issue on. All of these that I just mentioned are classic signs of a narcissistic personality: overestimating abilities, refusing to adapt, and then blaming external factors when something goes wrong. And it makes you wonder, did Meghan and Harry ever really care about podcasting, or was this just a cash grab? I mean, we know the answer to that, right? From what I've seen in studying Meghan over the last few months, and I can't speak for Harry because I haven't been really studying him, is that she has three main motivations: fame, power, and money. Everything she does is to achieve at least one of these. When I say power, that also includes controlling the narrative. That's why instead of saying control, I say power, because when you have power, you're able to control. Anyways, that was just an aside. But I believe the reason they took on this project is for the money. There is a little bit of fame that could go along with this, but ultimately it was done for money. And when people do things for money, I think the public can tell. So I'm curious to know, what do you think this says about Harry and Meghan? Were they just too ambitious for their own good, or does it prove that there may be some narcissistic tendencies? I mean, they believed their name alone would carry the project. They wanted total creative control, but they had no ideas, and they didn't adapt to the format, and the project collapsed. At the end of the day, this failure highlights something bigger. It's not just about a failed podcast. It's about the way Meghan and Harry enter industries expecting immediate success without respecting the work, the craft, or the audience. So please let me know what you think in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you all soon. Goodbye.